Guys who are very obsessed with the idea of self improvement and red pill, they often complain कि हमारे genuine connections नहीं है. उन्हें प्रॉब्लम होती है to find high value friendship because they perceive themselves as a high value man. I used to think the same back in the day. जब मैं भी नया नया सेल्फ इंप्रूवमेंट को बहुत सीरियसली ले रहा था, जब मैंने भी ईमान गाजी के बहुत ब्लॉग्स देखे थे, एंड्रू टेट की बहुत स्पीचेस सुनी थी, तो आई ऑल्सो समवेयर हैड द सेम आइडिया. But it was only later down the line when I consumed more that I realized that a high value man would never even consider saying this thing. A high value man, it won't even bother to him that they don't have deep connection, genuine connection, whatever. They would be satisfied with the connection they have. Before I tell you why that is true, I want to ask you one thing. Do you think that you are a high value man? Do you think of yourself as someone who is maybe superior than your peers? And I want you to be absolutely honest with yourself here. I don't want कि तुम झूठ बोलो. I don't want कि तुम लाए ऐसे मतलब. I don't want कि तुम हम्बल होने की ट्राई करो जबकि तुम्हें पता है कि तुम नहीं हो, जबकि तुम्हें पता है कि शायद से तो हाँ तुम अपने आप को परसीव करते हो. लुक, द एक्चुअल प्रॉब्लम somewhere lies in you, and it won't change until you sit with yourself and accept your flaws. That हाँ मेरे में एक कमी है, हाँ मेरे में एक superiority complex है. Superiority complex can be good or bad, but first you need to accept that is the case. Now, if you think you are a high value man, which you must be, if you complain, oftentimes if you find yourself complaining कि मेरे rich दोस्त नहीं है, मेरे ऐसे दोस्त नहीं है जो कि high value हो, जो कि मेरे को समझते हो, जिनकी thinking मेरे से match करती हो, जो कि same path पे हो. If you are always, or not always, but if you find yourself most often than not stressed about your company, that you don't have a company that you deserve, do you have a company in the first place? Not trying to ask you if they are high value or not. I'm trying to ask you if you genuinely have a company in the first place or not. क्या तुम्हारे दोस्त हैं? एंड अगर उनको होने के बाद भी अब तुम अगर इस बात को एक्सेप्ट कर चुके हो कि यू थिंक ऑफ योर सेल्फ एज सुपीरियर, यू हैव फ्रेंड्स, यू थिंक ऑफ योर सेल्फ एज सुपीरियर, एंड यू फील कि दे don't have the same mindset as yours, they are not on your same level, and that stresses you out because you feel lonely. You feel that मेरे पास क्यों नहीं है ऐसे दोस्त जो कि मुझे समझ पाए, जो कि मेरी आइडियोलॉजीज को समझ पाए, जिनका मैं बैठ करके शेयर कर पाऊँ अपनी बातें. जब मैं इनको बताता हूँ सेल्फ इंप्रूवमेंट के बारे में, दे फकिंग लाफ एट मी, जैसे मेरा एक ज्ञान चौध रहा है. राइट. आई होप you all are able to relate with what I'm trying to tell you guys. Now, the thing is, if you think yourself as a high value man, if you are not trying to play down on your superiority complex, if you're not trying to hide from it, then I would like to tell you this thing, that a high value man is actually so comfortable in his own skin and so much emotionally mature and intelligent, and has actually progressed so far mentally that he is very compassionate. वेरी कंपैशनेट. उसको नहीं पड़ता फर्क कि जिनका तो वो उठ बैठ रहा है वो हाई वैल्यू है कि नहीं, उसको नहीं. ही इज सिंपली हैप्पी दैट ही इज इन द प्रेजेंट मोमेंट. ही डज नॉट केयर्स. और ये ट्रू बात है, ये बिल्कुल ट्रू बात है. हाँ, इफ योर फ्रेंड्स आर एब्सोल्युटली फकिंग अननोइंग डाउनराइट degenerates, makes sense that you feel bad and sad and everything, all those things, but if you have people who are just normal people, but you have people in the first place, then you should be simply happy. You should try living in the present as much as you can. Maybe even tolerate a few things if they do something that does not aligns with your perspective or your perception or your path or your ideologies. I do have a good vocabulary. So if you feel that you are a no, 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 not the point. The reason high value men are so compassionate and why they are so caring and nurturing and giving is because that is what the core trait of a good man was. If you think about it at depth, that is who we were. That is who we were at least meant to be. Who provides, who takes shit and still stands tall, who is like a boulder जिसकी तरफ waves आ रही हैं, उससे टकरा रही हैं और waves शांत जा रही है, पर वो खड़ा हुआ है वहां पे, वो नहीं हिल रहा है. He is unmovable, उसकी spirit unbreakable है. एंड ये लोग देख इनको दिखता है, बिकॉज दे हैव seen so much, because they have went through so much. The only way to become a high value man is to suffer, is to suffer. Suffering, although people say it's bad, and it's actually bad. Suffering all the time is not good for you. Do not romanticize suffering. But if you have suffered, and if you have went through shit, and if you have seen shit, and if you have read, if you have consumed, if you have actually walked the path of self improvement, and you think you are a high value man now, then you know you can see through people. You see how shallow things are. You see depth to things, and you see more than those around you can see. And yes, that makes you more aware. Yes, that makes you feel more about things that are happening around you, things that people are doing. But you don't care, because you can see through them. You can see through their bachpana, if I'm making sense. I'll repeat this again. If you feel lonely in a social setting, if you feel you don't have high value friends, and if you don't have deep connections, then the problem isn't your friends, because everybody has their own separate life path. The problem isn't your friend or friends, the problem is you. The problem is that maybe you are somewhere in the middle ground. Yes, you did start walking on this path of self improvement, but you have not actually come to the end of the journey. You are still stuck somewhere in the middle. And once you reach the final point, these things won't matter. Deep connections, all of these things won't matter. All you need is one person, a partner with whom you could share things on an intimate level. That is it. You can have all the shallow talks with your friend. You can talk about the cringe and corny things with your friends. Not every conversation needs to be deep. And if you still feel lonely, start making content. If you still feel you have something in your heart that you are not able to express out loud in front of your friends, your peers, then maybe start doing that in front of a camera. Maybe you would start attracting like-minded people. Maybe they would fuck with your ideologies, and maybe they would help you form this community that you are craving for, which has all the deep connections you need. Does that not sound real to you? Sounds very realistic to me. How do you get that one person in your life with whom you could share all the intimate things? Do you think you deserve that person yet? Are you the man? Would you look at yourself and say that, yes, I am the man, I have done enough, and now I deserve all the good things that you might have dreams about, that wet dreams about? I was not trying to be specific, but all the things you might feel कि भाई ये तो universe मुझे ओ करता है, and I need this thing, I deserve this. Do you think you are that man yet? I personally, I don't. I also want a partner who looks 11 out of 10, who is also very feminine, who submits, who does not ask questions, who listens to me, who supports me and the version that I'm trying to become. But am I the kind of man who is ready for such kind of blessing yet? No, I'm not. I still walk this path of self improvement. I am a guy who can't even form sentences properly. He fumbles. He's not able to talk to the camera properly. What do you think would happen if I'm not able to talk to the camera? Or maybe if you are not able to talk to a camera, or maybe if you're not able to do something that you might have set out to achieve, that might be a goal of yours, and you're not able to get the ball in the basket or in the goal post. Shame. What would happen if I decide to go all quiet? If I go blank right at this very moment, what do you think would happen? Shame. We are such weak men right now that we are afraid of being shamed. It is very true. Every single person out there is afraid of being shamed by audiences, by people. They are afraid of what people might think about them. The reason why you think so much about being lonely, being the guy who does not have deep connection is because somewhere you also perceive yourself or you see yourself as a person whom other people outside your life or any other people or any other person might look at as someone who is a deep intellectual thinker. Stop looking at yourself that way. Start looking at yourself like a normal man who is still figuring shit out. I think the only reason why you guys do this is because you have not been humbled enough by life. Maybe because you are in your early 20s, not even your early 20s, maybe because you are 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, somewhere around that. You have not yet achieved enough and you are simply living in delusion all day long. You think way too highly of yourself and you have not yet had the chance to prove your capabilities to yourself or the world around you ताकि तुम्हें पता लगे that where do you actually stand. And once that happens, you would automatically become way more humble and you would stop craving these deep connections. I can bet for a fact all the men I know currently in my life, almost, if I know 100 people, 100 men, out of them 95 men are afraid of being shamed. This started off as a conversation about why men feel lonely around their peers, but it has now come up to why men are actually weak. They don't even know it. That's the value of a high value man. A high value man sticks by his morals, is true to his gut, is true to himself, his ideologies, and he does not care what everyone else around him thinks. You know why? Because he's the one who has to put in the work. He is the one who has to show up every single day, regardless of the fact that he sucks or he's not good at it or whatever. I think this should give you a good idea that we are not the men we think ourselves to be. We are not yet on that level. If something as small, as puny, as tiny as irrelevant as shame could stop us from doing the things that we genuinely want to do from all of our heart, from all of our, from everything, with everything that we have in ourselves. If something as small as shame could stop us, then we aren't real men, then we aren't those people or those figures, those alpha figures we admire ourselves or we think of ourselves to be. Very tough conversation to have with yourself. It was very difficult for me as well to sit with myself and to tell me that I am not this superior, godlike hotshot, and I'm also just a regular individual who might start, who might try, and who also might fail, and that is normal. I had to make peace with mediocrity before I set out to achieve greatness. Oh my god, I'm fucking, I'm the god, bro. You have to make peace with mediocrity before you actually set out to achieve greatness. Because it is only then that you could actually try to do that thing. Or else you will always think very highly of yourself. And when you put in the work, it won't take much before you realize that you weren't even capable of that, that you are not enough. And you would fall to the ground and everything about you, your fake sense of reality would come raining down on you. It would all shatter and it would come raining down on you, and you would eventually quit. You would stop. And then the whole cycle repeats. Then you have to sit there, you have to make peace with mediocrity before you actually set out to achieve greatness. I hope that helps. That's it.